Hey there. My name's Danny Liebrand, and I'm the founder of Pest Control SEO, where we grow pest control companies with SEO. Today, I am with Andrew Shotland, who is a total local SEO expert. I'm so glad to have Andrew on, and several people have persisted in telling me to get him on the show. So he's finally on the show, and I'll run through some quick accolades here. He is the founder of Local SEO Guide, which is actually a super successful local SEO agency. Just looking at some of the stats, I saw that you added over $2 billion in revenue for Walmart, and you're helping Rotten Tomatoes, and you're helping Crunchbase. I don't know if I've seen any other case studies from other SEO agencies. Everyone says they're great and they're doing a great job, and maybe they have some smaller local business clients, but super impressive there. And he is also the founder of Bay Area Search, which he started over 7 years ago, and we can kind of dive into that more later. So yeah, been in local SEO for 18 years, basically since the dawn of it. Certified expert, and so glad to have Andrew on the show. So thanks for coming on, Andrew.
Thanks for Danny. I should note that I am not a certified expert. There's no such thing as a certified expert in SEO.
Okay, we'll go.
And that's
Okay, well, I have personally certified you. You have the Danny Liebrand
way
certification.
to be. All right.
Yeah. All right, Andrew. So tell me about how you first got into local SEO. And I think I actually saw you were maybe working at NBC or something before that.
Yeah.
Tell me about kind of your initial journey and how you eventually transitioned into local SEO.
So I've been doing internet stuff for kind of forever. I was at Showtime Networks, the cable channel, when the internet first became kind of a thing. And I helped launch Showtime's first website in 1993. After that, I pretty quickly went to NBC and joined their startup internet group at 30 Rock. And, basically just tried to figure out stuff. There was no mandate, just like figure it out. And so I did a lot of weird stuff like invest in startups, give them like $10 million of TV time in the middle of the night on CNBC in exchange for pre-IPO stock and make like $100 million kind of thing.
Dang.
All those
Wow.
weird things. Um, I ran NBC.com for a while back when it was weird to see URLs on TV. I did a lot of the early, hey, you're watching TV, go to this thing called the internet and do something, and something might happen. And I got into SEO in 2003 in local SEO actually, because I helped start a company called Insider Pages out of Idea Lab in Pasadena. Insider Pages was an early version of Yelp. We started around the same time as Yelp. Uh, we had like zero traffic coming to our website. And one of our investors said, hey, why don't you try this thing I've heard about called SEO? And I was like, what's that? Um,
Mm.
and he didn't know really. He just said, I've heard it's good. Try it. And so I found some guy who knew someone who knew someone. And I hired a consultant, paid him a little bit of money, and he taught me tricks like, hey, update your title tags and add unique meta descriptions and add internal links. Stuff that never even occurred to me like was important.
Mm.
And because we had a national database of US businesses and we were getting reviews, we started growing exponentially like as soon as we started doing it. And within months, literally, we went from zero traffic to like 5 million people a month. Um, uh, we were one of the fastest growing websites on the planet at the time. This was right around the time when Facebook and YouTube were just starting. So they caught up to us pretty quickly. But that enabled us to raise money from Sequoia Capital and SoftBank Capital, big VCs. We moved the company up to the Bay Area. We hired a bunch of people and we were going to be billionaires. We hired a head of marketing and she suggested we redesign our very crappy looking website. We redesigned the website and I didn't know what I didn't know about tech SEO. And the day we launched it, we lost almost all of our traffic um, from a problem I could solve today in 5 seconds. But at the
Wow.
time, I couldn't figure it out. The person I hired probably had like 1,000 clients at the moment, so he was hard to find. And basically, long story short, we ended up selling the company to City Search for about what we put into it, and I
Mm.
got fired. The day I got fired, I happened to be coincidentally having drinks with the head of the Los Angeles Times website, latimes.com. He was all excited because he just got approval to redesign their site. So he was like, "Woo, I'm going to redesign our site." And I said, "What are you doing about SEO?" And he's like, "What are you talking about?" And and then I said, "Well, let me tell you what happened to me today." And I told him this story. He freaked out, had a couple cocktails, and said, "Hey, can I hire you to do some consulting?" And I was like, "Hey, I don't have anything else to do.
Mm.
Like, why not?" And so the LA Times became my first SEO client. Um, I guess I had a good enough network, and it was like right place at the right time. People started coming out of the woodwork like very quickly. Hey, I hear you're doing SEO consulting. And within a month, I had like 3 clients. Within 2 months, I had like 6 clients. Within 3 months, I had like 10 clients. And I remember at one point, my wife saying, "Hey, are you going to go look for a job?" And I was like, "I think I found one."
Mm.
And that was over 18 years ago. And
Wow.
here I am still doing this very goofy marketing channel thing with
That is
SEO.
such a cool story. So I mean, you kind of should have been a billionaire then,
I
right?
should have. I should have been.
Wow.
Damn it.
That is crazy. And just because you had to redesign the website and you know how to fix it now. Wow.
Well,
That is nuts.
that wasn't what killed us. What killed us is actually this is good for your listeners. We invested so much time in SEO because it was like awesome, um,
Mm,
and very little time in actually coming up with a business model that works.
mm,
So when the shit hit the fan, we had nothing to fall back on because we were
mm.
so focused on growing. At that point, top line metrics were what drove everything on the internet. So growth was like and the investors wanted us to make money, but they were much more like, no, you need to grow, right?
Mm.
And because that's what creates like multiples and value and blah 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 at that point.
Definitely. Yeah, no, that's the whole cliche of don't, put all of your eggs in one basket. And that's kind of what we preach all clients that, you should be running ads along with social with SEO and, also build your brand. Just
Yeah.
don't just be running ads. So I don't know. It looks like you learned that firsthand, unfortunately.
You know what? It actually it ended up being, it would have been better to make $1 billion, sure, but it ended up being a really great experience because it suddenly made me incredibly empathetic with our clients, and I
Mm,
think that's what enabled us to do so well early on was because I would get on the phone with these business owners who were clueless, and I'd be like, "Oh yeah, this is what happened to me. I lost my job. I understand that this is important to you,"
mm.
and immediately that created like a conversation that I think everyone could relate to.
Definitely. Yeah, I believe everything happens for a reason. Sometimes you have to go through those ultimate lows so that you can, shoot back up and now like, hey, I went through it so you don't have to. Like, please don't do this, this, and that, right?
I don't believe everything happens for a reason. I think everything just
Mm,
happens, right?
really?
There's
Okay,
no,
maybe we differ there.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's
Okay,
no,
so with the consulting that you were doing back in the day, and I know you're still doing consulting now for local SEO guide, but back in the day, what were you doing for consulting exactly?
So initially, I was just a solo consultant, um, and I did mostly technical and strategic consulting. So I would do audits and then help clients with strategy, and then help them basically, uh, particularly with larger sites. When you're updating them all the time, like we did, you'll break them. You'll break the SEO because you're not paying attention. So I
Hmm.
basically would be like, "Hey, man, I will look at your site before you push it live. I'll quality check all your development, all that kind of stuff." And that was great. I did that for about 8 years, like as a solo guy, and it was
Wow.
amazing because I didn't really want to grow a business. I just wanted to have I wanted to watch my kids grow up. I wanted
Mm,
to, make a decent living, and if I wanted to go to Tahiti and sit on the beach, I wanted to go to Tahiti and sit on the beach.
yeah.
Um, but I ended up kind of not really going to Tahiti and sitting on the beach. I ended up kind of becoming like the consultant who I hired initially, meaning I had a lot of clients. I think at my peak, I had around 40 clients.
Mm,
And
wow.
uh, and then, so the dirty little secret of SEO consulting is if you're just doing technical and strategic consulting, um, you can handle one person can handle 40 clients, right?
Mm,
It's not optimal, but it's not like because not every site needs something done to it every day. You just need to make sure it's going in the right direction and be ready to solve problems and troubleshoot. So, but at a certain point, I was starting to lose business to clients who wanted execution help, like and needed an
mm.
agency. So then I just started hiring people and building a small agency, and here I am.
Definitely. Do you think consulting's still a good model, or should you also be involved in the fulfillment?
Oh no, it's because there's no one type of client, right?
Mm,
Every like especially us because like we're not specialized, so we don't just do pest control. I like to say our target customer is anyone with a website and a budget, um, and so some people just want, hey, I just need an audit,
mm,
and then I want to check in once a quarter and make sure I have questions, or
mm,
I want to meet once a month and ask you questions and get feedback and troubleshoot.
mm,
That's that's perfectly legitimate. Like not everyone can has a budget or wants to spend a lot of money on their SEO program with outside vendors. So I think there's plenty of work that way for independent consultants or even agencies who want to use that model. But there's just as much for the execution work, right? And that's ultimately where growth typically happens for an agency.
Definitely. So your target market, at least now, is bigger companies with a bigger budget, right?
No, we do plenty of small business, like
Mm,
single location, two location companies. They're not significantly different, other than the big companies tend to spend a lot more and have bigger problems. But bigger companies also have product teams and develop engineering teams and things like that. So it's a totally different type of engagement, right? There, it's more like people management and um, yeah, product management. Whereas for, let's say, like a lawyer, a single location lawyer we're working with, it's much more like, no, we're your SEO team. We're
okay.
doing like, so it's, so anyhow, yeah, we do both those kinds.
Okay, cool.
We are not, we are snobby to some extent in that, but we're not, we'll help anybody.
Okay.
We're like kind of, I like to think of ourselves as doctors. Like we're,
Yeah.
like, if you're having a heart attack, I don't care if you're big or small. I'm gonna put you on
Mm,
the table and put the paddles to you, right?
that's great. Yeah, I love the doctor frame. It's like the same way as, you know, we should diagnose first before just putting you in, a templated model. Like, let's actually see what's going on with your business. Like, okay, maybe the local service ads are already great or the Google ads are already great. Okay, let's focus on this other area. I think most agencies kind of screw up in that way, at least when they start to scale up, is that they become way too templated. It's the exact same delivery, and maybe they might have a decent delivery, but even in my industry, I'm only pest control companies, and usually they're around 500K a year to about 5 million a year when we take them on. There's still many differences. They might have one location, they might have 10 locations, they might have just built a website last year, they might have a website for 20 years. There's still a lot of variability. So that's what I've been learning a lot recently, is it kind of has to be custom in the SEO game, I think.
I agree with you. This is the challenge as an agency, is how do you create processes that are rigid enough that you can repeat them with some confidence that they'll work, but at the
Hmm.
same time be flexible enough to like, no, like we're not gonna, you don't need 20 pages of content this month. You need like, I need to figure out your internal linking or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like it's, and this is where I think I'd like to think we do a good job at this, is we do get a lot of particularly small businesses who had agencies before that kind of had a very rigid model, and they kind of hit a wall and they keep doing the
Mm.
same thing over and over again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and it's not that they're bad or anything. It's just like, they're not set up to like handle these edge cases, of which there's a billion edge cases in SEO.
Yeah, definitely. So you were solo for about 8 years doing, mostly local SEO consulting. What changed in your mind and what did you do to begin to scale up?
Well, I think I lost some clients who were like, hey, I need someone who can do everything for me.
Mm.
And I was also um, working 24 hours a day, kind
Yeah, yeah.
of. I wasn't, well, I wasn't seeing my family as much as I thought I would see them. Or I saw
Mm.
them, but it was out of the corner of my eye. I was like, "Oh, can you give me more coffee?" Um,
Yeah.
and uh, and so I just thought, okay, it's I so I've worked in big companies before, and I had a kind of a phobia of big teams. Like, at
Mm.
NBC, there were
Yeah.
thousands of people, and I kind of hated that. It wasn't the place where I thrived. And uh, so anyhow, so I basically found some smart people and that I knew I'd met in the industry. And I was like, hey, I'm going to grow this thing. You want to do it? And they were like, yeah,
Mm.
why not? And so we kind of grew organically as we got more business. We hired more people. In the first year, I think I had hired three people. And then the next year we hired like three more, and then three more, and blah, blah, blah. And then when
Mm.
COVID hit, um, we we exploded. We grew exponentially.
Huh.
Like we
Really?
basically, yeah, we basically doubled within 6 months in terms of size. We went from like 15 to 30 people or something like that.
Why is that?
Well, in COVID, when COVID first started, when lockdown first happened, I remember having a meeting with my team going, hey, I don't know what's going to happen. We lost like four clients in a week, like that week in
Mm.
March 2020.
Dang.
And I was like, we're good, but who the hell knows what's going to happen? Like, I will keep you guys posted. I have no idea. I've never been in a pandemic before.
Mm.
I don't know how it works. Um, but within a month, we clients just started pouring in because everyone was going online and everyone realized
Mm.
that. So what happened is everyone cut their ad spend immediately. And suddenly no one had any business except through organic, except it was like indirect. And so but it was slow, right? Because everyone had avoided investing in SEO because it's easy to avoid.
Mm.
It's weird. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I don't like it. And so suddenly everyone, I think, all their investors and boards and whatever, like, what's the SEO plan? Everyone's doing SEO, and all these people doing SEO are cleaning up. So we just like I would wake up every morning, there'd be another like lead in my inbox. So,
Huh.
some big company and or little company. And so yeah, and I think most digital agencies went through the same thing, like crazy growth in 2020, 2021, 2022.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, I wasn't really running my agency around that time. I was kind of in the copywriting space, but started my first agency, I don't know, about 2 years ago. So I was kind of out of that,
Oh, you
unfortunately.
missed out on the
Yeah,
fun.
I know. That's too bad. Yeah. Okay. And then tell me about Bay Area Search. So you started that about 7 years ago. That's completely different. What
Yeah,
exactly is it?
so in the SEO world, there's a lot of I guess associations all over the country, like SEM PDX in Portland and State of Search in Dallas Fort Worth. Um, and it surprised me that there was none of this in the Bay Area, which is where all the internet companies are. And so a couple of people I knew in the business, we were getting together every once in a while to have just shoot the shit, like what do they call them? Mind, I forget what they call them. Mind meld,
Mastermind?
masterminds. Yeah, mastermind. Um, I didn't go to the Tony Robbins thing. I'm not up on my business. Anyway, we're masterminds, and and there was all like the SEO from TripAdvisor and the SEO from Yelp
Mm,
and
mm.
LinkedIn and like all these places, and so after a couple of these, I called a couple of the people up. And I'm like, hey, why don't we turn this into like a thing, like with a name and like SEMPDX or something? And so we created Bay Area Search and we started holding events. And we would hold an event every 2 months, and they're just usually social networking. We'd have like a program, so we'd say like have the head of SEO from LinkedIn come in and talk about what they do,
Mm.
or something like that. And it would always be an internet company. So like we had one at Yelp, we had one at LinkedIn, we didn't have
Wow.
one, we didn't have one at Twitter, I don't think. At Square we did one, and and it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. At the peak, we had about 150 people coming, and it was awesome. And then COVID hit, and the whole thing just kind of
Mm.
melted away.
Dang.
So
But now it's back up, right?
yeah, we're running it again every 2 months. We just had an event with Danny Sullivan last week that was pretty successful, but it's still hard to get people to go to these events. I think maybe we had like 50 people or something like that, and companies are not so into having people at their headquarters anymore. Um,
Hmm.
so we're now doing them all. Google has a community space you can use in San Francisco. We use that.
Okay. Interesting. Cool. That is really impressive. And I didn't know that. So you did it at LinkedIn. You said Yelp.
Yeah,
That that's
Atlassian,
awesome.
Zendesk. Yeah, because all these companies are in San Francisco, so it was easy. And
Wow.
and they usually have too much office space, and or they're hiring. So like TaskRabbit did it once because they were looking to hire an SEO, so it was great marketing for them. That kind of thing.
Yeah. And you just started that company because you saw there was an opportunity? Like, did you do it for revenue or just because you thought it was cool?
Yeah, it's not a company; it's a nonprofit.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Yeah,
yeah,
that's what I thought.
yeah, it's just a group. Like we all put in a little bit of money, and then we get sponsors for the events. So like Stat, which is a rank tracking data SERP data company that Moz owns, sponsors it. Go check out getstat.com. Um, and um, and so we make enough to like keep the thing going, but barely.
Okay. Cool. And okay, so I'm just trying to kind of get a visualization of your journey. So did, about 8 years local SEO consulting on your own. Was that all kind of smaller local businesses, or when did you start to take on bigger businesses like Walmart and Crunchbase?
Oh, it's exactly the opposite. So when I got into it, because I had this experience at Insider Pages, which was like kind of like Yelp, um, I really started, and I had a big network in that space, like the Yellow Pages industry, kind of. I started. I wasn't like pitching myself. I just was talking about it on my website, showing up at conferences and presenting things. And so most of my clients were all pretty big. Um,
Huh.
and so like names you've heard of, like Bing Maps was a client of mine, which was pretty funny.
That's crazy.
And and then naturally I'd get local businesses calling me too, because whatever someone said, oh, talk to Andrew. And so like I said, we did big and small. Um,
Hmm.
and but I was biased towards the bigger ones for a while because they were just easier to handle. Really, like doing SEO for Bing Maps, which really I wasn't doing SEO. I did like an audit for them and strategy. Um, was a lot easier than doing SEO for like a plumber.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
got it. So, I mean, it says on your LinkedIn profile and kind of all over that you kind of specialize in multi-location businesses. Can
Mhm.
you tell me maybe that how that would apply to home services and pest control of like what do pest control companies, let's say one has like 5 locations, what do they need to know about being a multi-location business to grow and then maybe scale up to 10, 20 locations?
So there's no magic to it. There's just having, like, I'm sure you have like your processes, right, for how to do it. So off the top of my head, in no particular order, right? So typically you need a website, and you're either going to have a one website for the whole brand or multiple websites for the each location. A single website for each location, and you have to figure out like what's the best setup. And in fact, we've done a lot of research and a lot of projects for consolidating multiple sites into one. And usually, multiple sites, one site is better than multiple sites,
Yeah.
usually. Um, so, like if you have a franchise and you have like 100 franchisee sites, you'll almost always do better if you put them into one corporate site.
Hmm.
Um, then you need a content strategy. And that can be as simple as location pages, so pest control in Houston kind of thing.
Hmm.
Um, and you need to understand the intent of queries, which is a fancy way of saying, look at how your customers are searching and look at what Google is showing for those searches, and then kind of try to reverse engineer it for yourself. As an example, maybe you have a pest control Houston page, and then you do termite inspection, let's say. And so the question always is, should I have a termite inspection national page, a termite inspection in Houston page, or just put it termite inspection on my Houston pest control page? And the answer is there's no right answer. The answer is what is Google showing at this moment in the results? And what are the odds that, so if Google's showing a national page like Angie.com/termite inspection, or let's say you're Joe's Pest Control Houston and you have a thing called Joe's Pest Control Houston/termite inspection, um, then you should probably have a national page. I mean, in my national, I mean one page for all your locations.
Hmm.
If Google's showing the I don't know, whatever neighborhood in Houston is, Midland. Let's say if I do Midland termite inspection, and I see Joe's Pest Control Houston/Midland/termite inspection, that's a signal that you should create a termite inspection page for Midland.
Hmm.
And it's always going to change, but the more you scale, the more you have to use that kind of data to kind of inform your strategy, because it's kind of, let's say you have 1,000 locations, kind of expensive to
Hmm.
make those things, stand those up, and maybe you're not going to get any. You're the one advocating for it, and you're going to get nothing from it, right? So you have to constantly be looking at the data. So we built a lot of tools to kind of try to figure that out. Uh, and then you've obviously got your Google business profiles. You need to make sure those are so the big secret. The thing I really hate to see is when agencies charge clients a ton of money to manage their Google business profiles. Like I want to say someone told me they were pitched like $300 a month for Google business profile management. which doesn't sound like a lot, but if you have 10 profiles, that's
Mm,
3,000 a month. And Google Business Profiles take about 10 minutes a month to manage. Um, uh, and you just need to make sure they're good, like they're right category, right services, right service area, photos and videos, and that you're responding to reviews. You're encouraging your customer to upload photos and reviews and videos and whatever. Like that's all the basic things that just go search YouTube and you'll find a million people telling you how to do it. Um,
definitely.
and then for organic rankings, you probably need some link building. Um, and those are kind of the basics, right? I think that's it. There's
Yeah.
all there's all the other sites like Apple Maps and Facebook and Bing Places. You should have your profiles on there. Apple Maps is pretty cool actually because uh, if you have an account there, you can get insights, basically a heat map as to where your business is showing up and getting clicked on um, in your service area. And why that's interesting is you can start to see, let's say I'm located here, but I can see a lot of clicks happening up here, or a lot of impressions happening up here. Well, that's a signal that maybe let's call this neighborhood North Andrew. Well, I'm in Andrew, but maybe I should create a page called North Andrew because there's a lot of people in North
Mm,
Andrew that are seeing me, maybe clicking on me, and now I can broaden that. And you can't necessarily guarantee that's happening in Google Maps, but you can't see that data really in Google Maps. And so if you do it for Apple Maps, it might apply to Google Maps and you might get a lot more people. Um, so there's all sorts of little things like that you should consider. The thing that we're really hot on for service area businesses, that I'm kind of interested to see what your take is on this. So, so we were talking to a national tree service company.
mm,
Hey, I need tree trimming, arborist near me, kind of thing. And so I actually needed some tree trimming, and so I went to Google and I searched for tree trimmer near me, and these guys are nowhere to be found.
hmm.
And um, and I looked at their nearest office. The nearest office that services me is 30 miles away from me. And then I looked at like 10 other locations, and I could see they're very far away the from the places, the cities they want to serve.
Mm,
So I said to them, okay, we can we can optimize your site so that you have the best chance of showing up all over the place. But you're not going to, because Google for service area business, for any business, is biased towards physical location. And so the odds that a business 30 miles away from me is going to show up versus a business that's 5 miles away from me is super low, unless you're like the king of tree trimming and everyone's like searching for you and clicking on you, which isn't going to happen in most cases. Um, and so what can you do? Well, you could try to game it. Like there's a lot of companies that sell like automated click bots. So I can basically run a click bot that searches for you and clicks on you and
yeah, yeah.
Google think, and that actually can work. It's just not very sustainable. Um, or you can do something else that's sustainable and real. And so what we recommend to this company is you need to actually set up real locations in the areas you want to rank.
Hmm.
And it doesn't have to be like a storefront, but you need to apply for a business license. It costs about $50 in Pleasanton, California, where I live. You need to find an office space. By the way, the psychiatrist on Craigslist, 5 blocks away from me, is subletting his office space for $200 a month. That seems like a
Hmm.
good deal. Put some signage up there. Um, uh, if you have equipment, put some equipment in there. Get some citations, so listings on yellowpages.com and Facebook and wherever, for that new location. And then go to Google and try to get a Google business profile verified. And I'm pretty convinced if you're not doing that, you're missing out on a huge amount of revenue. And if you're doing it the way a lot of businesses do it, meaning fake locations, so not a real business, it's not sustainable. You're going to get busted. It might work for 6 months, which is awesome, but you're going to get busted. Um,
Definitely.
and so at a high level, that's kind of our philosophy with service area businesses.
100%. I completely agree with what you said. That was super valuable. I hope the audience got some nuggets from that. I'll kind of just piggyback off of some of the things that you said. Um, yeah, in terms of Google Business Profile, proximity is so huge. So I don't think anyone should expect to rank more than 5 miles outside of where they are unless it's super non-competitive. Either there's not many people, there's not many businesses. Usually you can expect 5 miles, maybe up to 10. I mean, I've seen rare instances where you can rank, 50 miles out, but very rare, and at
Yeah,
least in what I've
it's
seen.
only if you have a super strong brand, I think.
Yeah, exactly. So Google Business Profile, that is super proximity relevant, which is also how a small business can actually compete with the big businesses. Whereas if you're maybe a little bit farther away from them, you're a few miles away from everybody, then you can actually capture all those leads that are right next to you because Google wants to show you the closest business because Google's whole thing is like they want the results to be as helpful and relevant as possible. So if you're looking for pest control near me, and there's a pest control company 0.3 miles away, then obviously they want to show that one first, second, maybe third, but that's going to be up there, right?
Yeah.
Um,
And the
I
problem is most of these guys are located in the industrial park area.
mm,
So it's
yeah,
you're not near where the people are, right?
hmm yeah. In terms of ranking farther out, I think that you still can rank most location pages. Like obviously, if you have a Google Business Profile that is in a certain city, like let's say it's Portland, and then you also have the Portland page, those two are kind of going to power up each other. And now the Portland page is going to do better, the Portland Google Business Profile is going to do better. But you can still set up location pages in the areas that you want to rank, but your Google Business Profile isn't in because, you can't set up, I mean, you can, but it's almost unrealistic and kind of unproductive. Setting up a Google Business Profile in every single city you want to rank in, even the ones that only have, 5,000 people. So I recommend setting up a location page for all of those cities.
Oh yeah. I mean, the easy way to figure this out is just go do a search in whatever city you want to be in. If Yelp shows up there, you can show up there, right?
Mm,
Yelp doesn't have a physical location.
yeah.
And here's a little trick for your fans. Um, if you think about how SEO works, or how we think it works, who the hell knows how it works, right? Um, how we think it works is you look at all the pages that Google's ranking for a given search query, and you look at what's on that page, and you kind of go, okay, I'll just kind of copy and hopefully do better than what those pages have. And that's like one of the ways you optimize pages.
hmm
And so if you look at, let's just say Pest Control Houston, we'll keep using that. Um, I can see the businesses that Google thinks are the most relevant for Pest Control Houston. So Joe's, Bob's,
hmm
Pete, and uh, and I can see Yelp's showing up, and Yelp has a list of those businesses on it. You can take your location page and have all the, hey, we're the best pest control in Houston. We're
hmm
awesome. Click here to set an appointment. Answer every question. How much does pest control cost in Houston? All
Uh-huh.
that kind of SEO crap. And then down at the bottom, put in big quotes, customers, please ignore this. And then right after it, say, here are the best pest control businesses in Houston. And then
Uh,
take the list of the top 10 that are showing up in Google Maps. Put them on.
huh.
I
You would do
guarantee
that? I
you,
feel like you'd lose customers, no?
no, it's all the way down at the bottom. No one scrolls to the bottom. I guarantee you some percentage of those pages will start ranking really well.
Huh. No, I mean, I can definitely see how that could work. Like, in terms of links, it should always, or at least most people agree, and I agree as well that it should be, niche relevant and location relevant. So if it is the niche, which is pest control, and location, which is your area, let's say Houston, if it's all the Houston pest control companies, I mean, that makes sense. And maybe, I don't know, you could hide it or something, but
Oh,
have you actually tried
can we
that and it works?
can we share a screen on this?
Share screen. Yeah. Do you see the share
Yeah.
button?
All right. Here's a stupid page I made years ago. It's called, there's a city near me called Danville, California. It's about 10 miles away, 15 miles. And I made a page that just said these three sentences. And I ranked pretty quickly on page 2 of Google for Danville SEO company. I left it
Huh.
there for years. In April, I added this. list of the best Danville SEO companies. Within 24 hours, I went to number 4 in Google for Danville SEO company. Within, I don't know, a week, I was number 1. Now,
Really?
not a very competitive query, kind of goofy. I
Hmm.
guarantee you, none of my people coming to this page ever see it because it's a million miles down here, right? Um, so anyhow, my so this is not like hey, let's do this everywhere, right? This is kind of a goofy thing. Um, I view our role is what's the art of the possible. That's my Tony Robbins lingo for
Hmm.
you. What's the art of the possible, right? And then what are you up for doing? What's your risk profile? If you have all your money in the stock market, this might work for you. Let's try it. If you have all your money in cash under your mattress, no, don't do this. You don't want to do this,
Hmm.
right? And so SEO is a very peculiar beast in that we all know now how to do basic local SEO. So what are you going to do to give your clients an edge, right? Because they don't want basic SEO. They want to know. I want money. And so I think my job is like, I'm here to make you money, not to like play by the rules. Um,
Definitely.
I usually play by the rules because why not? But I also, what's that like, understand the rules so you know how to break them.
Yeah, yeah.
So, as an example, are you clients um, uh, creating DBAs with keywords in their business name? If not, they should
Yeah,
be.
if they're not already in the business name, which actually most pest control companies, again, it is like Joe's Pest Control. Most of them already have it,
Right.
so they're already set.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's like the first easy win, right?
Hmm.
Not so easy. You gotta get a DBA and stuff, but why not? Like it just helps you
Super
rank.
huge boost. Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Um, yeah, what was I gonna say there? Yeah, I mean, so one part is that yeah, SEO is all about competition. Now every business, every local business, and every local SEO agency at least has like a baseline of competence. Everyone knows to set up location pages, maybe to get some backlinks, to create like pretty good content. In order to combat that, and because it's literally competition, it's like, are you ranking number one, number two, number three? When you jump from number two to number one, you just beat the number one guy. Now he's at number two. It's not like, oh, now you're both at number one. That's not like,
They call that a zero sum game.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So it is a game of competition. You do need to find those little
Yeah.
kind of silver BBs to beat your competition.
Totally. Totally. Yeah. I wanted to show you something. Can I show you one more thing?
Yeah,
So
yeah, go for it.
I'm gonna jump pretty quickly. But
Yeah.
hopefully in September, we're launching this thing actually for pest control companies,
Oh, really?
among other things.
Okay.
So we've built a data set of about 500,000 search results in the home services business. And then we're putting together a tool that monitors the search results over time. So this is now you're seeing for pest and animal control since February. These
Hmm.
are the what's called SERP features.
Yeah.
So how the different features in the search result change. So as an example, I don't know what we're even looking at here. Answer boxes. So answer boxes have increased over time. And we can see here that Google owns about 40% of the results in these queries. And so we haven't updated the data. So there was a Google update last week. Probably in a few weeks, we'll update this data and see how the search features change. Um, but we're going to have a lot of different little pieces of data here that you can mine. So like, what are the top domains at any given time in my keywords, and how are they changing? So it's called SERP Summary, and hopefully it'll be out in September. So stay tuned.
No
I'll let
way. That would be super useful. Yeah, no, I'm
you
definitely
know.
gonna stay posted for that. And yeah, actually, I wanted to ask you that, I don't know, maybe 10, 20 minutes ago, you said you were building your own tools to maybe help clients and stuff. So you've built
Yeah.
this tool. What other tools have you built?
Are you familiar with grid rankings? You
In
know, like
terms of like
local
I've used like
Falcon?
Local Falcon and Bright
So
Local.
yeah, so we've built our own grid rankings. Those tools are great. Like you should totally be using them. But we're like, we can build this, and it's not very expensive. And so right now, as an example, for Local Falcon, you would pay 26 cents for a 9 by 9 grid per
Mm,
report. So we were able to figure it out where it costs us like way less to create that.
mm,
So you can imagine when you're doing scale, like we just did one. 80 locations in Italy, and we looked at, I don't know, like 1,000 keywords. So that ends up being a lot of money, or
Hmm.
relatively a lot. And so we're like, oh, we can build this. We can and pay $5 for it, right? Versus paying
Hmm.
local Falcon 1,000, right? So we've started actually, and I'm not trying to pitch you. We've
Go
just started.
ahead. Yeah.
Okay, I'm pitching you. We just started selling this to agencies and clients. Like, we're not like actively out there like selling it, but enough people have said, "Hey, can I buy this from you?" So we have actually a few agencies right now and clients that we're basically like becoming like a little SaaS company. So
Hmm.
if you're in the market for cheap grid rankings, we got.
I am in the market, and I think local Falcon is even more expensive than you said. Like that, actually, okay, you said 9x9. Yeah, usually, I mean, at least we do a 5x. I think for a 9x9, it might be a few bucks
No, it's
if you're
20.
doing.
I did 26 cents for a 9x9 for a one
Hmm.
scan.
Okay, well, you'd know better than me. But either way, if yours is cheaper, then yeah, I'd love to
Yeah.
use that instead.
Yeah, it's not as cool as theirs. Like they have way more widgets. But as anyone who's bought SEO tools know, you get really excited by all the things they have, and then you end up using like 2% of them.
Okay,
Um,
yeah.
and so we're just like, they're not. We don't use these enough, like that we need to make it like constantly be paying a lot for them. We just want like the bare minimum thing because we don't want to look when we start working with the client. How do you rank in the grid for these keywords or certain keywords versus competitors? That's all we need to know. And then how did you do versus last week or last month? That's all we need to know. So I don't need like 50 million options in it. I just need like a bare minimum tool.
Definitely. Okay, last question because I know you need to go. What would you say are like your top three SEO tools that you use on like a pretty consistent basis?
Top three. Well, we use Looker Studio. I guess that doesn't count. We use that for like a lot of stuff. Um, uh, we've, like I said, we've built our own thing. So we've built a ton of tools inside of Slack, like SEO
Hmm,
automations that connect to other
interesting.
tools. So like if you need to check the index of a big site, you can just go to Slack and it hits the Google Search Console API and sends back over
Dang.
all that kind of stuff.
Is that
Um,
is that you building it or someone else building it?
I have some excellent developers who work for us.
Okay, cool.
Um, but in terms of like publicly available tools, well, Google Search Console is the number one thing we'd use. Probably Screaming Frog, of course, is a website crawler that anyone doing SEO should have. It's like I call it the SEO tax because you just have to have it. And
Mm,
then you really need at least one of the I don't know, let's call it big data SEO tools. So like SEMrush, Ahrefs, those are the
mhm,
ones we use. We go in between them because they both have slightly different points of view on how to present
mhm.
data. Um, and yeah, there's like 500 others, but
Yeah, yeah.
those in the and SEMrush just launched a local grid rank tool that's pretty good. I actually just
Mhm.
published a review on it this morning.
Huh.
Um, uh, and those are pretty much what we'll use. The Bright Local is great too. White Spark's great too. The problem with SEMrush and Ahrefs is they don't really cater to local search. They're starting to, but they're like
Hmm.
SEMrush is starting to do more.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
the rankings data you get is usually not so great for local
Okay.
search, except with this new grid rank they
Okay, awesome. Well, it was a great show having you on, Andrew. And where can people find you on social media?
In Twitter, I'm on @local SEO guide. You can find me on LinkedIn. Those are the primary places I am. Threads, I guess I'm occasionally on. And then I'm in a number of SEO groups that you'll probably find your way in somehow.
Okay.
Um,
And anything you'd like to plug? So I'll plug local SEO guide, Bay Area search if you'd like. Anything else?
well, like I said, SERP Summary is coming out in September. If you go to our site, localseoguide.com, and I think in the helpful content menu, you'll see SERP Summary. You could sign up to get notified when it's live.
All
Uh,
right, cool.
right now we have like, I don't know, like 500 people have signed up for when it's live. So it'll be very exciting or not.
All right,
Right.
awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, Andrew. I appreciate it, and I hope we can do it again sometime.
Really appreciate the invite and congrats on the show.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Andrew. All right, see you.
All
Have a good
right.
one.